Good morning, everyone. Morning, morning. Oh, let me take these out. They're not attached to anything. Hi, guys. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining. I really like this topic. And I have a lot to say on it, so I'm excited. So I'm just gonna wait a couple more seconds. How was everybody's weekend? How was everybody's Monday yesterday? I'm in New York. It's raining today. It's a little gloomy, but more and more I'm realizing how much the weather is affecting me. And I actually read an article yesterday about turning it into the positive, and maybe I'll do a live on it this week. That would be cool, right? Because I know it affects a lot of people. Especially if you're empathic, right? You absorb the energy around you, and a lot of people are more gloomy in the winter time and when it's bad weather. So maybe it'll be a good live for this week. If you're joining on, hi Jacob, thanks for joining. I was gonna say when you come on, say hi, because it's not just me speaking. I mean, it is just I'm speaking, but I like the interaction. It's actually kind of fun. So. Really fun. Got my coffee as usual, so. Alright, I'm going to begin. I will introduce myself. My name is Justine Luzzi. I am a intuitive coach, spiritual teacher. I help people get spiritually connected, empower their intuition, and help heal themselves. I do this because I want everybody to create a life of emotional freedom. I think that's the end goal, right? We all want to be in a place of no suffering, and this is I truly believe is the end of suffering is emotional freedom. So it's important to me. I've been doing this work for a while now, and I really, really enjoy it, and I'm glad that I get to share these lives with you. I'm also an intuitive empath. So what that means is the short version is that I feel energy very deeply, so I have some intuitive gifts available as well. So I do angel card readings with that, if you're interested. And then I also do other forms of intuitive healing, like crystal healing. So I'm a certified crystal healer. So if you're interested in any of those things, let me know. And speaking of empath, I'm going to mention it a couple of times here. So I also am an empathic mentor. So if you suspect that you may be empathic, and you're maybe going through a spiritual awakening, you're a little confused, you need some help, please message me. We can get a conversation going, and hopefully I can help you out. So, okay, great. So I always like to get that out of the way before starting so you guys know where this is coming from, where I'm coming from. So this topic is very interesting, and I've been doing a lot of work on it. This sweater is like kind of annoying, but I've been doing a lot of work around it and thinking about it, and I made some notes, which I usually do, but I want to talk about bridging the gap between being spiritual and being human, and obviously you're going to be both, right? Again, and I always mention this all the time, but I really want to make sure it hits home. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? So, to me, it's almost like being human is secondary, right? So we kind of put it on the back burner. And when we do that, it can create a lot of inner conflict or conflict in our everyday lives. So I wanted to kind of address it today. And I was watching one of my favorite spiritual teachers. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. Her name is Teal Swan. She's really great. And she was talking in the start of her career. Somebody asked her about being a spiritual teacher, not just like what qualifies her, but what it means to be a spiritual teacher. And the truth is, I identify myself as a spiritual teacher. I've been trying to get the label down on what I do for a really long time, and spiritual teachers don't claim to know all the answers, and that's the thing that I love about spirituality, is that there actually is no, hey Deanna, there actually is no right or wrong when spirituality is concerned. Like I said, there are some spiritual teachers that I don't really resonate with, and it's going to happen to you too as you go along your journey. So it's really about what feels right, and that's why I am calling myself an intuitive coach now, because I really believe intuition is the the core of how we live our lives on the path, the life of pure bliss, making decisions that are, that are in service of our higher selves. Intuition really is the key, right? So I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but there is a point to it, I promise. But it's when you're a spiritual teacher, you're coming from the perception of what you have gone through, right? Or what you have learned or what resonates from you. So I don't expect everybody to resonate with what I'm saying. And this topic is a little out there, so I do understand a lot of people aren't going to resonate with it. But there are people that do, right? There are people that fight every day between, being a spiritual being, like a highly evolved, on a higher vibration, living in the physical world. You're more likely to have this conflict when you're empathic, right? When you're more connected. So when you're more connected to the divine, you separate a lot from what is considered false, right? Your mind and your body, right? A famous Buddhist quote is, "You're not your mind, you're not your body, you're not even your mind." It is true, 100%, right? You're the soul, you're the highest self, your spirit, right? Your love. That's really truly what you are. So when you get more connected to that, you can get more disconnected to those things, your mind and your body, right? For example, I resonated for the longest time with being an Italian American. That's actually not truly who I am. So there's a disconnect there, because I used to use my identity as an Italian American, right? Am I an Italian American? Yes, I am. And there's a lot of things that, biologically that fit with that, right? But again, that's the body, right? And we're talking about spirituality. So when you're more connected to spirituality, it's a little harder to connect with things on a level as being human. Does that make sense to anybody? It's just, and when you're a spiritual teacher, trust me, it is so hard for me, right? Like, I try to take these spiritual concepts and actually try to use them as being human, and then a lot of people just don't really resonate. And I'll give you an example. Like, I had somebody actually just recently said this to me, and they were talking about somebody in my family, and they said, "Don't you just want to make this person happy and do things and just do the things that you don't want to do just to make this person happy?" And the answer within a family, usually probably on a human level, is yes, I want to, get the approval of my parents. That is something that is really important to me in this family unit. But if you step outside of yourself and connect spiritually, really spirituality does tell us that everybody's responsible for their own happiness. So me doing something out of wanting to just make somebody happy, I don't agree with, because I do believe that the other person, in this case would be my mother, is responsible for her own happiness. So when I take this principle and try to use it in my actual life, it's really hard, because then a lot of people see that in a different way, and you're not selfish, you're not family oriented, and then the labels start, because people don't really understand from the spiritual perspective. So that's what I mean by bridging the gap, right? That's like a great example. I also wanted to say that when you're more connected to the divine, when you're empathic, I know this has been an issue for a really long time with me, and this can actually be a perception to other people that you think that you're better than other people, because I do get that sometimes, right? Like, I'll be transparent with you. That's all I really want to do, is be transparent with you guys. And I think some people think that I think that I'm better than them, when really the reality is, the false belief that I have is I don't believe that I'm human, right? So I actually, and I've been told this before, like, sometimes you act like you're not human, or you act like people aren't human, right? And that happens when I'm super connected. Like, I don't even feel connected to my body or even being on this planet. But that's a whole nother thing, right? And that's what a starseed is called, right? I'm getting a little out there, but there are people that feel very connected to not to human beings that are on this planet, right? That they feel like they are connected to other people in other dimensions or other solar systems or whatever it is, or other past lives, and they don't really feel connected to anybody on this earth. And that's very interesting, and I can talk about that if you guys want to know more. Those are called starseeds. So you might be a starseed if you feel like you have a lack of connection with people in this human life here. But anyway, I had a coach a while ago, and she was very effective, and I loved her very much, and we had a coaching session, and I really came to this conclusion that she's like, she said, can I make an observation? And I said, sure. And she said, you really don't think that you're human. That's what she says to me. And it really was like such a breakthrough that I had to work on it ever since, and I'm super conscious of it now, for the most part, at least. And it's very interesting because when I get super into spirituality and getting connected and separating myself from what is the false realities, the mind and the body are the false realities, I can get really into that and then really realize that I, don't really most of the time feel like I'm human. And especially if you have gifts too, and that's the other thing about being empathic and why I put it in this category, is if you have intuitive abilities and you do work that crosses over into different dimensions. As far as what I do too, I work with angels as well. Ascended masters have been around me for a while, and that type of thing. So that could also skew your perception that you're not human. So that could be a hard thing to bring into the human world, obviously, because guess what? I'm in this body, okay, and I'm human. So right now, right, until the next life cycle happens, but it won't happen for a while, right? Hopefully I'll be on this earth for a while. But I'm hoping that you guys are understanding the concept between, being super connected and just not feeling like you fit in as like a human being. It's very, very common, but can create a ton of conflict. But I just wanted to get on and let you know that you're not alone. For me, what I tried to do when I tried to reconnect, when I am so far out there, is I try to reconnect with my body, and maybe do a meditation of being in my body, just to remind myself, I am human, like, this is an arm, this is, I am here, and just reminding myself, yes, I am on a spiritual journey, but I'm also in this body on earth at this moment, so to just realize that I do make mistakes, just like everybody else, and and that thought never really, like, leaves me or whatnot, but that's another good thing to kind of bring you back down, right? Remember your flaws, right? Because all flaws and any negative behavior is something that is a human thing, right? It's not a soul thing, because soul is pure love. Anything coming from the soul is only on the positive scale and is love, and nothing else at all. Like, that's what it is, right? So, so that's a really good reminder, right? Definitely human with all the mistakes that I've made in my life, for sure. And I'm sure you guys could resonate with that. So hopefully this did resonate, this whole thing. I hope I didn't go off on too much of a tangent here. If you guys have any questions about what I talked about, let me know. Please, if you're watching the replay, make some comments if you feel called. Other than that, I am signing off, and I will be back on live tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Bye, guys.